Yesterday at the temple, there was an alms-giving ceremony. Many of us came, hundreds of people. The reason why I organized this almsgiving is so that we don't forget. It's a Buddhist tradition, a good tradition. Over time, it can gradually erode, and sometimes it can deviate. Almsgiving on the day of the Buddha's descent from Tovatimsa heaven serves to remind us of the Buddha's kindness. He has great compassion that encompasses the three realms. If we, as monks of this era, can follow his example, it means having compassion for both the rich and the poor equally. Therefore, Buddhists have broad minds. We don't focus solely on the rich. We also care about the poor, people who come to learn Dharma from me. I commend them. Nowadays, when I go outside the temple, I stop at gas stations for bathroom or a meal. And I meet ordinary people who come to see me and report on their practice. When I see this, I'm delighted that Dharma has reached the common people. I don't care much about the rich. They're already comfortable. The lower class is more pitiful. They struggle to make a living day by day. If they can receive Dharma, their lives will be peaceful and happy. Seeing this, I commend them. Tomorrow is the day for annual Kotina ceremony. An easy way to remember is that at this temple, we follow the principle that the first Sunday after the end of Buddhist Lent Day is Kotina. So if the end of Buddhist Lent Day is on a Saturday, the next day is Kotina. It's easy to remember. No need to think too much. No need to ask what day it is this year. People often ask. Remember this principle. Here, Kotina is not about collecting money. Since the temple was founded, we've never distributed Kotina envelopes or any other fundraising envelopes. So we let people come and make merit and learn the traditions of Buddhism. Many people still have weak spiritual faculties. When they come to make merit and see many people, they feel happy. For instance, many people came to offer alms yesterday, and they were all joyful. It's like there's a sense of merit spreading widely. Being in such an atmosphere is joyful. Merit is the name of happiness. So, coming to Kotina here should also bring happiness. Don't worry about us collecting money. We never take any. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't, it's okay. Everyone is equal. There's another thing I wanted to tell you. I initially planned to keep it quiet, but I've decided to announce it now. This will help people decide whether or not to attend. In this coming January, there will be an old boundary stone removing ceremony, which has nothing to do with lay people. It's not like boundary stone burial ceremony, where you're welcome to come if you want. This boundary stone removing ceremony requires hundreds of monks. The temple will be packed just with monks. We'll need to provide food, seating, and even bathrooms for all these monks. So, it's not a good time for lay people to be here. Even if you did come, you wouldn't see me anyway. I'll be busy welcoming the monks as they arrive from different places. And there won't be any sermons or talks. So, no seeing me. No food. Usually, when you come, there's food, or you bring your own to offer the monks. But this time, we can't accept it. Our team won't be able to handle opening all those food packages. We've got hundreds of monks to look after. So, if you hear about the boundary stone removing ceremony, just rejoice in the good deeds of others. Stay home. Isn't it strange? Other places might encourage people to come, but here, I'm telling you not to. This isn't for lay people. It's a monastic affair. A lot of other temples have fundraising goals for their kotina ceremonies, but we don't do that. Our temple has never asked for donations. Look at our ordination hall. We've been working on it for 13 to 14 years, little by little. We've never had to ask anyone for money. People who want to make merit do so on their own. They come and help. Now, it's more than 90% finished. The only remaining work is the wall paintings on the interior, opposite to the main Buddha image. If you want to come sit and meditate on the upper balcony of the temple, you can. Just don't make a mess. And don't lie down. There are seating there. Don't lie down. It's unsightly. If you want to sit and meditate, that's fine. But don't go inside yet. Wait until we finish the ceremony. I don't want some of you getting your naughty hands touching. The Buddha images or the base of the main image. It's all artwork. It's easy to damage, and the wall paintings are expensive, costing millions. We hired skilled artists to do them. So, please don't add anything. Don't sign your name. Don't draw hearts with arrows. Just look, don't touch. If you want to do street art, go do it somewhere else. The goal of studying Dharma is to end suffering. This is the ultimate aim. In this world, not many people truly desire liberation from suffering. Most people desire happiness, wealth, and great riches. That's why Buddhism has always been a religion for a minority, not a majority. This has been the case since the time of the Buddha. Venerable Sariputta and Venerable Moggallana, two of the Buddha's foremost disciples, once had another teacher named Sanjaya. Before encountering the Buddha, they were students of Sanjaya. When Sariputta met Venerable Assaji and heard the Buddha's teachings, he attained the first stage of enlightenment and told Moggallana. Moggallana also attained the same stage. They then went to their teacher Sanjaya to inform him of their decision to leave his teaching and follow the Buddha. They invited Sanjaya to join them, as they saw that the teachings of teacher Sanjaya didn't truly lead to the cessation of suffering. They were a group of debaters, wandering ascetics, similar to the Greeks during the time of Plato and Socrates, around 3,000 years ago. These debaters sought knowledge through arguments. Sariputta and Moggallana had already attained the first stage of enlightenment. They realized the futility of endless debates. When you win, you're happy. When you lose, you're sad. Winning or losing arguments brought no lasting satisfaction and no real benefit. They invited their teacher to join them in seeing the Buddha. Sanjaya, however, declined. As a renowned teacher, he saw no reason to study under someone else. His own school was already large and prestigious. When Moggallana and Sariputta persisted, Sanjaya asked them, "In this world, are there more fools or wise people?" Both answered truthfully, "There are more fools than wise people." Sanjaya then replied, "In that case, you go. The few wise people will follow the ascetic Gautama, while the many fools will come to me." Fool people would not come empty-handed. They would bring him wealth and offerings. The more fool people are, the more they pay. This has been the case since ancient times. True Buddhism is a religion for the few, who genuinely seek liberation from suffering. Other teachings promise worldly happiness, such as wealth. Notice that teachings emphasizing wealth tend to attract larger audiences, while those focused solely on meditation typically have much smaller followings. Therefore, we must come to study, because now that we've encountered Buddhism, we shouldn't stop at worldly pleasures. Worldly pleasures are fleeting. They're temporary happiness, and they hide a dangerous poison. That poison is attachment to the world. Being attached to the world gives us a little bit of happiness, but we become slaves to that happiness. We can't attain liberation from the world. Liberation, or beyond the world, means transcendence. If we have the opportunity, let's study the true Dharma. As for how others live, that's normal. The journey through the cycle of birth and death is long, countless lifetimes. Those with weak spiritual faculties seek out pleasure and get caught up in it. Those pleasures are all laced with poison. They're filled with disappointment and sorrow later on. For example, seeking fame and reputation. Fame and reputation are worldly things, associated with praise and criticism. So, just as quickly as one gains fame, one can lose it. In one era, someone might be disgraced. In another, they become famous. Look at the example of the Empress Wu Zetian in China. She was heavily criticized. She was a Buddhist, an empress. Those who believed in other doctrines, I won't name them, opposed her. First of all, a woman ruling was considered bad. They made up all sorts of slanderous stories, and people believed them. They criticized Wu Zetian. But in modern times, people praise her. They say she was a great woman who revolutionized women's rights, giving them equality with men. Isn't that good? It's good. But the definition of good varies from era to era. So, as for praise and criticism, don't get too attached to them. It's all meaningless. People's praise is temporary, and their criticism is also temporary. The important thing is that we do good. How others perceive us is their business. We can't control that. A wicked person will call a wise person evil, and they'll think their fellow wicked people are good. What can we expect from the world? Or hoping to become rich? Some temples emphasize making merit to become wealthy. They do become wealthy. That is, the temples become wealthy, not the ordinary people who donate. They won't become wealthy. They lack the wisdom to make a living. If we want to learn the essence of Buddhism, we must first have a clear goal. Buddhism answers the question of how to end suffering. Suffering is the world itself. The world is nothing more than the forms and formlessness. We are attached to the world because we are caught up in these forms and formlessness. Most people are attached to material forms, meaning they crave sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and touch that are pleasurable. Most people are addicted to sensuality. Very few people can break free from sensuality. Those who have freed themselves from sensuality fall into two categories: those who have attained absorption, and those who have entered the non-returner path. Why can those who attain absorption break free from sensuality? Because when the mind reaches the tranquility of absorption, it realizes that sensuality is like a burning fire. It's a feverish kind of pleasure. For example, when we experience strong sexual desire, is our mind calm, or is it agitated and feverish? Just observe when you have sexual desire. So, sensuality is a burning pleasure, like a fire. What are the objects for sensuality? Forms, sounds, smells, tastes, and touch. These are called sense objects, and they are what all beings crave. Sense objects are the devil's tools to trap us in a realm and prevent us from escaping suffering and transcending mundane realms. Most people seek sensuality. They crave wealth so they can see beautiful sights, hear beautiful sounds, smell beautiful odors, taste delicious food, and experience pleasant sensations. They don't know about happiness that transcends sensuality. If we practice meditation, or our minds experience peace and tranquility, we will find that tranquility brings more happiness than sensuality. As the Buddha taught, no other kind of happiness is greater than peace. Now, peace comes in many levels. The peace experienced within absorption. When your mind enters a state of full absorption, it is quite delightful. It's like your whole being is bathed in a cool, refreshing sensation. You feel a deep sense of happiness. From this state, you can clearly see that sensual pleasures are impure. They're like fire, not a good thing. To truly understand the harmful nature of these pleasures, You have to break free from the sensual realm. When you do, through the power of absorption, you'll see that these pleasures aren't as wonderful as they seem. They're actually harmful, causing restlessness and dissatisfaction. Therefore, as monks, we should set our goal correctly. We've ordained to put an end to suffering. If we lose sight of this goal, we might get sidetracked by seeking fame, offerings, or the admiration of others. We forget why we're here. I often remind them that they shouldn't waste their robes or the food offered by lay people. Our goal is to end suffering. If you can do it in this very lifetime, that's good. If not, we should accumulate the necessary qualities so that in future lives, it will be easier to attain liberation. Those who have attained enlightenment didn't do so in just one lifetime. They've been cultivating these qualities for countless lifetimes. Some practitioners accumulated it right up until death. They practiced meditation until they died in previous lives, yet still didn't succeed. But when they came to this present life and practiced again, some attained enlightenment after hearing just a little bit of Dharma. For example, Bahia. During the time of the earlier Buddha, Kassapa Buddha, for example, Bahia, he practiced until his death without attaining enlightenment. He gave his life in pursuit of Dharma. But when he met the Buddha in this lifetime, with his fully accumulated spiritual faculties, he became an enlightened one after hearing just a few words of the Dharma. Look, Bahia, when the seen is merely the seen, when the heard is merely the heard, when the cognized is merely the cognized, then there is no you. When there is no you in the past, in the future, nor in the present, then that's the end of suffering. Through hearing this brief explanation of the Dharma, Bahia became an enlightened one. Just like Upatissa and Kolita, when they heard Venerable Assaji's teaching, whatever has a cause, the Buddha has explained its cause and its cessation. This is what the Buddha teaches. They attained stream entry. Assaji was so wise, yet he was humble. He said he just ordained and knew very little, but his words encompass the Four Noble Truths. Whatever has a cause, what does arise from a cause? Suffering arises from a cause. Besides suffering, nothing arises. Besides suffering, nothing exists. Besides suffering, nothing ceases. Phenomena that arise from a cause are referred to as conditioned phenomena. And all are suffering. The Buddha explained that the cause of suffering is craving. The Buddha further taught us how to let go of craving. If we remove the cause, the effect, which is suffering, ceases. So, he taught us to remove the cause. It's all about cause and effect. So, upon hearing a brief Dharma, they understood. Whatever arising from cause, when the cause ceases, it ceases. If the cause arises, it arises. Therefore, everything is conditioned by its cause. There are 6 causes. 3 wholesome and 3 unwholesome. The unwholesome are greed, hatred, and delusion. The wholesome are non-greed, non-hatred, and non-delusion. If you create unwholesome causes, you get unwholesome results, which is suffering. If you create wholesome causes, you get wholesome results. But if you realize the truth and let go of all causes, you're free from both good and bad, and ultimately free from suffering. The true essence of Dharma is concise. However, it contains a vast amount of practice. When we hear these teachings, for example, Venerable Assaji's teaching, we, at most, might just remember them. But Venerable Sariputta and Venerable Moggallana understood immediately. Whatever arises from a cause will cease when the cause ceases. They realized that nothing is permanent. Everything is conditioned. When they came to practice with the Buddha, they realized the unconditioned Nibbana. It's beyond all causes, without any conditions or fabrications. This is called the unconditioned. Since we haven't reached that point yet, let's first acknowledge that the goal of our practice is to transcend suffering. Secondly, to be free from suffering, we must extinguish its cause. How can we extinguish this cause? We must thoroughly understand suffering. When we understand suffering clearly, cause of suffering is automatically let go of. When we understand suffering clearly, what do we know? Firstly, we know the existence of form and mental components that come together to form our sense of self. Secondly, we further understand that these form and mental components that make up our sense of self are impermanent, suffering, and non-self. If we can truly realize this, we will be free from suffering. We will be free from clinging to these form and mental components. If we are free from clinging to form and mental components, we've essentially transcended the world, as the world is fundamentally composed of form and mental components. When we see the truth that this form is suffering, our mind ceases to cling to it. Then, when the mind sees the truth that all mental components, including the mind itself, are suffering, it lets go and doesn't cling to them anymore. If we haven't seen suffering, we won't let go. Therefore, seeing suffering is the essential aspect of our practice. Initially, seeing the suffering in our own body and mind is the best. Of course, we can observe others, but it's more difficult and we're more likely to get lost, because our minds wander outward. The first step is to know, to feel our body and mind. The second step is to see the three characteristics of the body and mind. To see the three characteristics of the body and mind, we need two important tools: mindfulness and right concentration. Mindfulness allows us to be aware of the existence of the body and mind, and to see how they change. Right concentration is the upright of the mind. Without right concentration, wisdom won't arise. There is worldly wisdom, but the wisdom of the Dharma depends on right concentration. Right concentration is the proximate cause of wisdom. The Buddha taught this. But speaking of right concentration, it's a very unfortunate aspect. Some people say there's no need to learn it, because concentration arises naturally with every mind. They forget that there are different kinds of concentration: wrong concentration and right concentration. Right concentration can be divided into two. Right concentration, where the mind is calm and focused on a single object, and right concentration, where the mind is firmly rooted in awareness, seeing the three characteristics of all forms and formless phenomena. There are many types of concentration, so why not study it? Or if you do study concentration, you study it incorrectly. If you study concentration, you sit and meditate, drifting in and out, or you become tense. That's studying concentration incorrectly. To study concentration correctly, you must understand the study that will lead us to correct concentration, called training in higher mentality. When you stop studying your own mind, you won't get correct concentration. Have you ever heard of threefold training? Threefold training is what we Buddhists must study if we want to transcend cycle of rebirth. Training in higher morality. How do we cultivate the higher morality? Training in higher mentality. How do we cultivate the higher mind? Training in higher wisdom. How do we cultivate the higher wisdom? To cultivate training in higher morality, begin by diligently observing the precepts and diligently abstaining from the 5 evil actions. Then, be mindful and aware of your own mind frequently. Automatic morality will arise. As soon as defilements arise, they are recognized immediately, and the precepts won't be violated. Automatic morality will arise. To cultivate training in higher mentality, study your own mind. Practice any meditation that you're good at, but don't do it for the sake of tranquility. Practice a meditation and be aware of your mind. When your mind wanders, bring it back to focus on a single object. Use the meditation object that pleases the mind. Bring attention to it without forcing. If you force it, it won't be peaceful. For example, you can meditate on your breath. As you breathe in and out, be aware of the breath at the tip of your nose. The breath goes in, the breath goes out. Know this in a relaxed manner. Your mind will become peaceful and focused at the tip of your nose, not wandering elsewhere. You will gain a peaceful kind of right concentration. The benefit of this is that it strengthens the mind. Now, if you want to develop right concentration that is firmly rooted for the cultivation of wisdom, how do you do it? You practice meditation as before, but don't focus on the breath at the tip of your nose. Instead, pay attention to your own mind. You know the breath at the tip of your nose, and if your mind wanders to the breath, be mindful and aware. In the moment you realize that your mind has wandered to the tip of your nose, to the breath, your mind will instantly become awakened. It will become rooted in awareness automatically, because you are aware of your mind. Or you can breathe in and out with the word Buddha. As you breathe, know the breath. When your mind wanders to think about other things, be aware that your mind has wandered to think about other things. See, the secret is being aware of your own mind. That's why it's called training in higher mentality. One part is training the mind to be calm, and the other part is training the mind to be rooted in awareness. The study of training in higher mentality will give us these things. When our minds become rooted in awareness, the cultivation of wisdom becomes possible. Once the mind is rooted in awareness, it withdraws from the objects it knows and becomes a mere knower, a seer. The old forest monks that I studied under would often speak of the knower mind. Some people would laugh and say that all minds are knowing by nature, since it's the nature of the mind to know objects. But this was a specific term they used. The knower mind is the opposite of the deluded mind. It is the joyful, awakened, knowing mind. In the past, when I went to see the teachers, all we talked about was the knower mind. This knower mind relies on mindfulness and right concentration. The mind that's rooted in awareness. When we have right concentration, the mind that's rooted in awareness. If mindfulness recognizes the body sitting, wisdom will arise immediately. For instance, when you all listen to me teach, you develop right concentration, because I don't just recite memorized teachings, I speak the Dharma that arises spontaneously. So, when you listen, right concentration arises automatically. When your mind has right concentration like this, try to be mindful of your body. You'll see that the body and the mind are different. See, the body is the object of knowing, and the mind is the knower. The known is referred to as the object. There are the knower and the known. Originally, our mind and its object were intertwined, but when our mind attains right concentration, rooted in awareness, the mind and its object separate. The body sitting is seen, and the mind is that one that sees it. The body breathing is seen, and the mind is the one that sees it. The body moving is seen, and the mind is the one that sees it. They separate. And then, if wisdom arises, you'll see that the breathing body, the standing, walking, sitting, and lying body, the moving and still body, is simply an object of knowing and seeing. It's not us, it's not ours. It's merely something the mind knows. This is wisdom at the level of insight meditation. You see the three characteristics. You see non-self. If you simply see that the body is one thing and the mind is another, this is preliminary wisdom. It has not yet reached the level of insight wisdom. However, when true wisdom arises, it penetrates deeper. You'll see that this body is an object of knowing and seeing, not you, not yours. At this point, insight wisdom has truly arisen. If your mind can follow this path of insight, the path becomes short. It's no longer long or difficult. The most difficult part for practitioners is developing the mind that's rooted in awareness. It's the hardest because our minds are never truly rooted. They're always wandering and lost. So we must practice. We must practice some form of meditation. If one day your mind is weak and scattered, let it rest on the meditation object, let it relax. But when your mind is strong, don't just let it rest. Observe the mind. When your mind is experiencing rapture, know that it's experiencing rapture. When your mind is experiencing joy, know that it's experiencing joy. When it's peaceful, know that it's peaceful. When it thinks other things or becomes restless, know that it's restless. When you see phenomena correctly and truthfully, then the knower mind will arise. This morning, I shared with my team and the former monks who came to report their practice that I had experienced the knower mind since I was 10 years old. I was practicing mindfulness of breathing, following the teachings of Luangpu, inhaling, reciting Bud and exhaling, reciting Do, counting 1, inhaling, reciting Bud and exhaling, reciting Do, counting 2. As I practiced, my mind became calm, bright, and relaxed. Sometimes, my mind even went out to see external things. When I was about 10, our house was in a row of shop houses. I used to play with the neighborhood kids, who were about the same size. We'd play with marbles. While we were playing, I looked over and saw that around the 4th or 5th shop house next to our house were on fire. That house was a car repair shop, which was just big enough for one car. I didn't know how the fire started. The people working in the shop ran out, some of them grabbing fire extinguishers, trying to put out the fire. When I saw the fire, I was startled. In my panic, I still instinctively grabbed my marble, and then I started to run. With the first step, I was in panic. With the second step, I was still in panic. But by the third step, my mind snapped back as mindfulness arose. Instead of focusing on the fire, I realized that my mind was filled with fear. As soon as I recognized this feeling of fear, it vanished. Because fear is a form of anger. My mindfulness arose and recognized it, and the anger immediately subsided. What followed was a state of the mind rooted in awareness. At that time, I was still young. I thought, hey, my mind felt strange. Why was my mind different today? It wasn't scared. Then, I walked calmly to tell the adults. And then I just stood there, watching other people panicking, running around, trying to put out the fire. My mind was just an observer, not scared at all. If only there had been a teacher at that time. I could have been free from suffering a long time ago, but since there was no teacher, I didn't know how important this was. It happened, and then it passed, and then it happened again and again. but I didn't know how to use it. I didn't understand the principles of insight meditation, or how to cultivate training in higher wisdom. I had a rooted mind, strong and steady. I didn't know that. I needed to be mindful of physical and mental phenomena. Once my mind was rooted, it remained that way. I maintained it like that. That's why my Noah mind is so strong. Because it has been cultivated for so long. Venerable Luangpu Sim didn't know my name, so he gave me a nickname. When he saw me, he called me the Noah. People thought I could predict the lottery, but I wasn't predicting the lottery. I was aware of myself. My mind was aware of the body and mind. And back then, I was so naive. I thought everyone else's mind was like that too. Later, after a while of meditation, I gradually noticed the minds of other people. I realized that most people in the world are not aware of themselves. Most people are deluded. Very few people are truly mindful. One must practice diligently to become mindful. Luangpu Pramote once told me to teach, to spread the teachings, because no one was teaching about the mind back then. He told me to teach, otherwise people who should be beneficial wouldn't benefit. That's why I started teaching. It wasn't because I was arrogant or wanted to teach. Practitioners don't just go out and teach unless their teachers instruct them. The first thing I taught is to not be lost and not to be focused. At first, many people laughed. What kind of meditation practice involves not being lost or focused, they asked. Why don't we just focus on our breath or chant Buddha? Why don't we do it that way? What a strange meditation practice. This is because I've seen people practice meditation and fail. Because they meditate by focusing and become so stressed. Some are so stressed that they've gone crazy. Many meditators have gone insane from focusing too much. Practitioners often make the mistake of focusing. But for those who don't practice, the main problem is absence of mind. They're lost all day long. The middle way is neither extreme. Being lost is like indulging in sensual pleasures, while focusing is like self-torture. The middle way is awareness or knowing. The middle way involves the word know. In the 4 foundations of mindfulness, it says, monks, sit, set your body upright, and be aware in the present moment. When your out-breath is long, know that your out-breath is long. When your in-breath is long, know that your in-breath is long. When your out-breath is short, know that your out-breath is short. When your in-breath is short, know that your in-breath is short. When your breath disappears, know that your breath disappears. Monks, when standing, know clearly that you are standing. When walking, know clearly that you are walking. When sitting or lying down, know clearly that you are sitting or lying down. See, the key word is know. Monks, when feeling happy, know that you are feeling happy. When feeling unhappy, know that you are feeling unhappy. When feeling neither happy nor unhappy, know that you are feeling neither happy nor unhappy. Again, the key is know. Monks, when the mind is filled with craving, know that it is filled with craving. When the mind is free from craving, know that it is free from craving. See, the key word is know. Monks, when the mind is filled with anger, know that it is filled with anger. When the mind is free from anger, know that it is free from anger. Monks, when the mind is filled with delusion, know that it is filled with delusion. When the mind is free from delusion, know that it is free from delusion. Monks, when the mind is restless, know that it is restless. When the mind is lethargic, know that it is lethargic. The next 8 items in the foundation of mindfulness regarding the mind are about the mental states of absorption practitioners. We only need to focus on the first 4 pairs. Notice that the only verb used is know. There's no mention of discarding, focusing, or forgetting. Monks, when you breathe out, forget it. He did not teach like this. Monk, when you breathe out, immensely focus on it. When you breathe in, immensely focus on it. He did not teach like this. This is what prevents people from making progress and attaining liberation. Their concentration isn't right. It's actually wrong concentration. So, it's a make or break factor. The real challenge is waking up those who are asleep. They've been asleep for countless lifetimes. It's not easy to wake someone up. Therefore, the door is open for us, because we know how to wake ourselves up. That is to meditate on a meditation object and be aware of our mind. Be aware of phenomena arising in our own mind. Be aware of the actions of our own mind. Keep doing this, and your mind will become rooted in awareness. This is called training the higher mentality. After training our mind, now we need to train for insight. Once your mind is right, developing wisdom will be quick and easy. But if your mind isn't right, no amount of wisdom practice will help. When your mind is right, that is, rooted in awareness and equanimous, when mindfulness arises and recognizes form and non-form phenomena, its three characteristics is seen. When mindfulness recognizes the mind, its three characteristics is seen. It won't take long. The Buddha's Dharma yields quick effect. So, be patient and learn to understand your own mind. When someone cuts you off while you're driving, don't just focus on that person. Look at your own mind and see that it's being angry. When you see a beautiful woman, don't just stare. There's a beauty pageant going on in Thailand right now. Don't just keep watching. When your mind perceives a beautiful woman and it likes it, be aware that the mind likes it. Some people might dislike beautiful girls, thinking like a gibbon, not pretty at all, can't be compared to me. Jealousy arises, be aware. As a practitioner, you should be aware of these feelings. Keep being aware of our own minds. If you can do this, the Dharma will no longer be difficult. Today's sermon lasted 45 minutes. Number 1.
Number 1. In sitting posture, I meditate on the in and out breath, observing the arising of mental states. I find that my concentration strengthens after I become aware of my thoughts. Sometimes, my mind becomes attached to contentment. I'm not sure if I'm practicing correctly.
Correct. That's actually very good. When the mind becomes attached to contentment, and you're aware, this is good. When your mind attains right concentration, rooted in awareness, when it becomes pleased or displeased, you need to be aware of this too, because if you are aware when the mind is pleased with contentment, or pleased with tranquility, your mind will become equanimous. If your mind is rooted in awareness and equanimous, you're doing exceptionally well. Right now, what you're doing is not quite correct. You're trying to pull the mind and make it still. If you're trying to pull the mind and you become aware, that's correct. But if you pull the mind without awareness and think that this is the practice, then you've misunderstood. Your meditation practice is excellent, well done, you pass. Number 2.
Number 2. I practice formal meditation, through sitting and walking meditation in the morning and at night. I observe the body during movement, and the breath during stillness throughout the day. However, my mind still wanders frequently and for a long time. My mind gets stuck in stillness, and doesn't want to come out to observe things. Thoughts about past wrongdoings, both in terms of precepts and Dhamma, often arise. If I become aware of them, they subside. If I'm not aware, they continue to cause suffering for a long time. Please guide me, Luangpu.
Focus on contemplating the body. Continue to contemplate the body. Hair, body hair, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinews, bones. As 3 characteristics, what you're doing is good. Number 3.
Number 3.
Number 2. Your mind sinks inward. The mind needs to be rooted in awareness, and then observe. You'll clearly see that the body is not self. Contemplate this frequently. See, when you realize that your mind is not rooted, it becomes joyful and radiant. That is the true knower, the awakened one, the joyful one. You're a skilled meditator. Keep practicing. Number 3.
Number 3. I do walking meditation for my formal practice. While doing so, I observe the mind as it functions, being aware of the mind at the eyes, the ears, and the feelings. I alternate between observing the body and observing the arising of mental formations. I feel like I'm trapped in this observation, as if I'm confined to just observing. I see the mind grieving, but I can't do anything about it, I just observe. During the day, my mind wanders in thoughts and mental objects, alternating with moments of awareness of the body. When the mind relaxes, it tends to become settled into concentration, but with awareness. Luangpu, could you point out any weaknesses in my practice?
Your mind is still greedy. Be aware of the greedy mind and continue your practice. Number 4.
Number 4. During my formal sitting meditation, I observe the movement and stillness of my hands. Then, I notice changes in my mind until a white light appears, followed by bliss. I then turn my attention back to the mind and observe thoughts arising and ceasing. I practice this back and forth for 30 to 45 minutes daily. And during the day, I observe the movements of my body. Now my mind feels very still. Should I continue meditating in this way?
While doing samadhi, your mind now gets stuck in stillness. Step back and observe the movements and changes in your body. Observe the changes frequently. You need to break free from this fixed state of concentration. Luangpu said, "Be careful not to get stuck in stillness. If your mind is too still, it won't develop wisdom. It will become accustomed to laziness." Your mind now is good. It's broken free from the stillness just now. Do you feel it? When you talk to me, your mind is more alert. But soon after this, it returns to its old habits. Now it's good. If it's like this, then that's fine. But if you get stuck like you were just now, it's wrong concentration, tainted by delusion. Number 5.
Number 5. My mind has become much less scattered. Since then, my progress seems to have stalled. Recently, I repented of my misdeeds and asked for forgiveness, and I've added chanting to my formal practice. I've started to see more often that the one who is actually walking is not me. While walking meditation, I feel like the knower is above my head, and I can clearly see the 5 aggregates separating out. Defilements arise and cease very quickly, and I'm feeling quite confused. What's happening to me? Please give me some homework.
Be mindful. Right now, your mind is overwhelmed by mental objects. Be aware of your body. Move. Keep moving, and be aware of your body. Right, your mind should be here. Earlier, your mind was overwhelmed. It would scream and shout all sorts of nonsense. Mindfulness is crucial. Be aware. Yes, be aware like that. Don't cling to awareness. You're holding on to it. Don't. The knower is not located above the head. It's not there. If you intentionally separate the knower mind and put it up there, it's wrong. The knower is where the act of knowing takes place. It doesn't locate in a specific location. If you meditate and then separate your mind upwards, that's just a meditation technique, a kind of play. Don't send your mind up there. Stay with your body. Stay with your mind. If the mind goes up there, you'll be dreamy and easily get overwhelmed by mental object. It's not good to be dreamy and get overwhelmed by mental object. It's not good. It will become a habit. Be mindful. Be aware of your body and mind. That's the way to go. Number 6.
Number 6. I practice formal meditation for 1 hour a day, using body breathing and movement as the meditation objects. I can feel the heartbeat. The mind sometimes sinks and sometimes escapes, not very peaceful. If it's not restless, it tends to fall asleep. I am starting to accept that it doesn't have to be peaceful. I learned from the loss of my beloved dog, seeing the body disintegrating into elements. I see the mind getting lost in thought, and if I let it continue to fabricate, suffering will arise. Also, I see that the mind that wanders outward induces suffering. Please advise on further practice.
Your practice is fine. You cultivate wisdom well, but you must know how to rest. By practicing calmness meditation periodically, right concentration is something that cannot be abandoned. Therefore, if we cultivate wisdom very well and then abandon right concentration, we will experience to advanced wisdom, where the mind thinks of Dharma, not knows Dharma. Therefore, practice calmness meditation periodically. Good. The dog has already gained merit, because its death allowed us to see the truth. So we should share our merit with it, thanking it for its death, which has given us wisdom. Do you see that separation from loved ones is suffering? This is all Dharma. Therefore, the dog teaches us Dharma. Know how to look at it, then you will see Dharma in everything. Everything teaches us Dharma. Therefore, the mind must also have some calmness. Cultivating wisdom persistently is not good. Number 7.
Number 7. I get angry easily and my mind is lost in thoughts all the time. But I can sometimes be mindful of my body or my breath. For my formal practice, I do mindfulness of breathing. If I lose focus on my breath, I'll come back to my body and feel my sensations repeatedly. I often feel like my concentration isn't strong enough, but sometimes I feel like I can separate my mind from my body. I'm not sure if that's just me imagining things.
You can separate them occasionally. You should recite something related to loving kindness. Any verse about loving kindness. Keep reciting it over and over. Keep your mind on those words. There are many loving kindness verses. Even Luangpu Van and Luangpu Kao composed their own. For example, Luangpu Kao's verses: Buddha mate tung, jit tung mama, Buddha Buddha, nu ba, venar. Dharma mate tang jit tang mama, Dharma Dharma nu ba vena. Sangha mate tang jit tang mama, Sangha Sangha nu ba vena. When you recite smoothly, you'll feel a rhythm. It's like a lullaby that calms your mind. Our mind will become calm. Other verses work too. Just practice loving kindness a lot. If you're easily angered, you need to do this. Bring your mind down. Don't push it up. When it goes up, bring it back down. Don't push it up. Just look down. Okay, stay at this level. And then practice loving kindness. Mate ta kunang, ara hong mate ta, or any other verse. Don't try to subdue your mind in such a way that it becomes dreamy. That's delusion creeping in. Be mindful. Have awareness of body and mind, and practice loving kindness. There are many ways to practice loving kindness. If you're skilled, you can use your mind to send loving kindness to beings in front of you, wishing them happiness. Then bring your mind back to rooting in awareness. Then do the same for beings behind you, to your left, right, above, and below, wishing them happiness. Spread loving kindness in all 6 directions with the power of right concentration. But remember, you need to come back to rooting in awareness after each direction. This is for those who are skilled in meditation. If you're not, Don't try to do it. I'm just explaining that there are many meditation techniques. Many techniques for calmness. You are in the habit of pushing the mind upward. Bring your mind back down to this human realm. Be ordinary. If you stay up there, it's nice and peaceful, but it's easy to get lazy. Practice loving kindness and be aware of your body. Number 8.
Number 8. Practicing formal meditation by inhaling and exhaling while reciting Bud and Do. If I feel focused or dreamy, I'll move my body. During exercise, I observe my body moving. Throughout the day, I'm sometimes aware, especially when I'm annoyed or angry. I've noticed anger arising from the middle of my chest. At that moment, I know I'm angry, but the anger doesn't decrease. I just continue to observe. Am I practicing correctly?
That's right. You're quite good to see that it arises from the middle of the chest. This is called heart base. The origin of many mental phenomena. This physical form, the birthplace of mental phenomena like anger. When anger arises, if we want it to disappear, it won't. At that moment, greed arises already. So, we continue to observe. When anger arises, if our mind is truly rooted in awareness and our mindfulness is sharp, wisdom will arise and anger will cease immediately. But if anger arises and our mind isn't strong enough, it sees anger and dislikes it. Know that the mind dislikes it. Know this point. Know that the mind dislikes. Anger is the past, disliking is the present. We're looking at the wrong thing. We should look at what's present, liking or disliking. And when anger arises, no matter how we look at it, it doesn't disappear. Don't wish for it to disappear. Just observe it, challenge it. I'll sit here and watch you. How long can you stay? I'll wait and see. Be courageous like that. No matter what defilement arises, if we fight against it, it won't disappear. Challenge it. Let's see how long you can be angry. Observe like this. It will be afraid of our mindfulness and wisdom, and it will run away on its own. In summary, the reason why observing anger doesn't make it cease is because our mind isn't neutral. Our mind dislikes it. Know this aspect. If it's neutral, right concentration will arise immediately. When right concentration arises, it will facilitate the arising of wisdom. The factor that lets go of all these things, that cuts off all defilements, is wisdom, not concentration and not mindfulness. Wisdom arises from right concentration. So, if our mind sees anger and we dislike it, know this point of disliking. It's not neutral. Okay, now you understand. Good. Time's up. You might wonder why I often tell you to go see Mu Deng the hippo. There's a reason. During the COVID-19 pandemic, after the zoo reopened, Pramote and I went to visit the zoo and found the animals to be quite pitiful. They were starving. Now Mu Deng is a lucky charm. Nobody has yet made a lucky doll of beckoning Mu Deng. Her arms might be too short to really wave and attract a lot of people. Now, Mu Deng is a lucky charm, bringing in income for the zoo. Other animals benefit as well. They have a better quality of life. I tell you to go see Mu Deng because of this. I haven't gone to see her yet. I'm afraid of the long queue. I might faint before seeing Mudeng. My heart feels sorry for the animals. Animals are in difficult. They have no choice. They're confined to a limited space. If they're in the wild, people will kill them. In the zoo, they're safe, but sometimes they lack food. It's pitiful. They can't go find food. It's pitiful. And Thai people don't like going to places that provide knowledge, such as zoos. So they don't like it. Thus, these places are very unfortunate. Another example is museums. People should visit these places so they can earn money. Sometimes, when I went to give sermons in foreign countries, I visited their museums. I had to queue, just like when people queue to see Mudeng. Why do people like to see Mudeng? Because they don't have to think. People don't like places that require a lot of thinking. Thai people are afraid of using their brains. They only use their brains to think about the lottery. They wonder which number will come out next. So, anything that gives you knowledge, do it. Do it sometimes. And it benefits us both directly and indirectly. That's all. Don't forget about Mudeng. Go see her.